Sundew and Butterfly. One day, when the sun began to rise, Sundew opened her eyes. She was very hungry, but she couldn't survive only producing nutrients, so she ate flies. At first, the whole swamp was quiet and still without any signs of life. Then she saw something pink flying around, and she waited. Suddenly, she saw a beautiful butterfly flying around and searching for flowers to drink nectar from. Then he was flying towards some flowers who were around Sundew. Although all the other flowers quietly tried to tempt the butterfly, instead he passed all the simple flowers and listened only to Sundew. Sundew was looking to the butterfly with a hypnotic look and talked to him with the most sticky and sugary voice she could make. She was moving her glandular tentacles. After a while, Butterfly started to move towards Sundew, and the other flowers warned him about Sundew's bad intentions, but he pretended not to hear them. He trapped into her sticky tentacles and then started screaming and crying for help. But the plants ignored him because he didn't listen to their warnings and got caught on Sundew's flatters. In the end, Sundew's sticky drops paralyzed him and he slowly died. Once upon a time, not long ago, I was killed by some people. They cut my stem. I started bleeding. Yes, I was bleeding because I was a special flower. Let me start from the beginning. I was that flower who was bullied at young age. Other flowers just had beautiful flower, stem, leaves, buds, and fruit. But I had hope. Hope that someday I will grow up and beat other flowers. But nothing happened. After some years came an angel and said, "You are a beautiful flower and you are special." I wanted to ask an angel why I'm special, but he left. After more years, I realized that I had blood. How did I realize that? Little girl cut my leaf and I saw something red. I was thinking, what it could be? When girl cut my leaf, the red liquid was on her hand. She ran to her and mom and said, "Look, mommy, I have blood on my hand." And then I realized that it was blood. That's why I didn't make photosynthesis, and my leaves, fruits, stem, buds are gray. I was happy that I'm special. Inside me, I was screaming, "Finally! Finally!" But 5 minutes later, I was cut and I died.
Holly, a few years ago, my little brother and I were playing a ball game in our grandparents' garden. The ball flew across the garden and landed in a bush. We ran over to get it. Before I could reach out and get the ball, my brother asked, "What type of bush is this?" I replied, "A holly bush, you silly." "It's so pretty," he said, and reached his hand out to the bush to get a berry. I quickly grabbed his hand and told him, "Don't touch that, holly berries are poisonous." Then I ran back to the garden to play with the ball. The next day I woke up early because my little brother was feeling sick and I had to comfort him. He had already vomited a few times that morning. I asked him how he was feeling and he answered, "Very dizzy." I was quite concerned, so I asked my grandmother if he was going to be all right. Grandma replied, "I don't think this is that serious. I think it's just a regular sickness." Then she turned to my brother and said, "And you, sweetie, need to drink a lot of tea while you're sick so you feel better. If things are going bad for a few more days, we'll take you to the doctors." And so, a few days later, we went to the hospital. We were waiting for about half an hour until the doctor let us in. The doctor told us what was wrong. Turned out my little brother had eaten poisonous holly berries while I wasn't looking. When we finally got back home, my little brother said, "I'm never eating an unknown berry again."
When I was a small seed, I didn't know what the large world was. One day, strong wind was blowing and the storm started. The wind carried me away far from my home. Suddenly, a big raindrop pushed me away to the ground. The rain was flowing and flowing. I was looking at the huge sky while the rain was taking me into the ground. After some time, I felt the developing roots with with the help of which could absorb nutrients and water. My sprouts saw the sun for the first time in April. I grew up with a beautiful long stem, leaves, and flowers. I underwent photosynthesis, absorbing carbon dioxide, the sunlight. I had a beautiful dandelion life. Every morning, butterflies fluttered around me. Every morning, frogs and birds gathered around me. I was happy because all I even wanted, I already had.